Good evening. I'm your host, Kenny Cruz, and this is Gaytopix, My Life. I'm here because I am now fully blind. I Many say, how come after all this time? Because there have been past series where I explain why I am in this condition. But I did go to several doctors. I've seen at least 9, and they prescribed drops, and the drops spread, or the infection spread to my left eye, and now I can't open my left eye, and I'm stuck in this position, and I cannot see because everything burns and scratches and jabs. The entire right side of my head hurts and sometimes becomes numb. I was once paralyzed from shoulder to my hand and could no longer write. I couldn't even sign my name, which is very unique in itself. There were times I couldn't get out of bed because my hip was killing me. I've also had neuropathy when walking my dog. All on the right side. There's something wrong on the right side. I've been to several doctors where they claim that it's my cervical spine. C2 through C7 have some injury, but they've done nothing to fix it. NYU did the same thing. Although yesterday, the time that I did go, which was yesterday, today is February 18th, 2022. Actually, yesterday, let's do that again. Actually, yesterday, today is February 19th, 2022. Yesterday, on February 18th, 2022, I got kind of irate because here I am going through something for the past 2 weeks, and it's now getting worse, and my doctor hasn't returned, my primary care physician hadn't returned my calls. And I was really concerned about that, and I believe that the nurses that I spoke to over the phone were just there to listen. They weren't there to take action. And here I am going through this crisis, but they're not taking action. And that is a problem at NYU. And it has been ongoing for several years now. And I continue to stay there because I believe in loyalty and the doctors. I know if they're going to NYU, they want to excel in their career as being a medical doctor. So they're going to the best place to go. But the way they treat their patients is very disheartening, to say the least, at some points, So earlier last year, I would book an appointment with my doctor every single month. And I did that for a reason, because I wanted him to check on everything. My mental being, my state being, my physical being, my sound mind, everything. I wanted him to constantly evaluate me to make sure everything was fine. Or, in the case of something coming up, that he would be ready and available to give me the proper medication. And he done so every single month. And I would leave my appointment and go to the desk and make my appointment for the following month. All of a sudden, he was booked. And this was during the Christmas holiday. I'm like, wait a minute, how is he booked on Christmas? Or any time before that? I understand he may have gone on vacation, but then you would have a window of opportunity for you to see the patients, and a huge number of them, to actually go on vacation, or to allocate the patient load to a way that, will be at ease prior to your vacation. And when he didn't when they kept saying he's overbooked, he's overbooked, he's overbooked, I was like, I never had this problem before. So I went to his nurse assistant, and she overbooked me several appointments. And so, me being as resourceful as I am, I booked appointments through the entire year. So I would never ever hear those words again. I'm overbooked. I'm overbooked. I'm never going to hear those words again because I booked my appointments all through the following year. So for the next 2 years, every single month, I have an appointment. Hopefully, I would be here in 2 years, but the way things are going right now, I don't think I am. But not to lose sight of what I was saying, no pun intended, of what I was saying was that I called, and I called for several days, and each time they were saying he was overbooked, he's overbooked. And I was like, okay, I've had enough at this point. It's just getting worse. I want him to tell me to my one good eye, when I had one good eye, that he's overbooked. So when I walked in the office, unannounced, unexpected, somebody was going to see me, and it was going to be him. When I walked in that office, there was only one person in the waiting room. One person. How are you overbooked? So I knew, it was just a fabricated tale. Even the nurses were sitting at their desks on their phones. It was like, how are you overbooked? Seriously. It was really, like, come on. We could do better than this. The ethics are completely out the window. So when I went to speak to the front desk, it ends up being his new assistant, Amy. Amy looks up my information, like, oh yeah, I got your email. It was at 1:30 in the afternoon, and I sent an email to the nurse at 9:30 in the morning. How are you just getting it now? I don't know about you, but whenever I worked, the first thing I did was check my emails before I even got my coffee, or got my coffee and sat down and did check my emails. I don't, even with my phone now, well, I can't see, but when I could see, I did, I checked my emails at the first day. It really bothered me. Then she had the gall to tell me he's only available at 3:30. Again, there's only one person in the fucking room. All he has to do is look at my eye. you know? So he calls me, and this was the first time in over 2 years that I've had him that he called me personally, and it sounded like we were on the hookup. I was like, I'm in the office, and he was like, come knock on the door. He was like, knock on the door, and I was like, are you sure? Like when you go on a hookup, it's like, buzz me up. So I went in, and he saw it, and although it wasn't his specialty, as my primary care physician, he should be able to know what to do and where to send me and what, how to go going forward, And he did. He sent me to the right place, told me about the facility and everything like that, and I went there and I saw an ophthalmologist, and an ophthalmologist did all these tests, which made my eye burn even further, and from there, he considered it to be an emergency. Again, I knew I had to go to the emergency room. This was already given. So he declared it to be an emergency and sent me straight to the hospital. But while in the hospital, in this infirmary on 14th Street, the eye, ear, and throat infirmary, it is very deplorable, and it reeked of feces. And that blew my mind, literally, because we're in the middle of a pandemic and it smells like this. This is not clean, and most of these people are blind, and it was really overwhelming. But what was most overwhelming was that the pharmacy was located in the basement, and it was through, cell block doors, and you only had to stick your hand in, it was like there was no engagement whatsoever, and it was really sad, and you're there by yourself because there's nobody else there, It was very sad. And I was like, I don't like this place. I don't like this place at all. And the prescription costs so much money. If someone is on Medicare, the question of money should never even come up. Someone on Medicare cannot afford whatever it is that you're proposing, regardless if you think it's going to save my health or not. Which brings me to that. They took these tests and they don't know because it hasn't come back from the lab yet. So these drops that they're prescribing me are just to hold me off, but it's not, because it's making it worse, because now it's in my left eye. And now I'm forced to wear my glasses and still can't see. It's the purpose of this episode is to officially do it. Remember, you're always in a mix with Gaytopix. I'm your host, Kenny Cruz, the only host to bring you the latest gay and lesbian headlines and breaking news as it happens. Unfortunately, through a healthcare crisis, I am no longer able to perform my duties as host, so I have to sign off officially. This is my last post. Please wish me well. Until then, remember, you're always in a mix with Gaytopix. Bye.